This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 265 of The Real Word.
Wow. Word is up. You have some energy today. What did you do?
Well, I've got a lot of energy. I'm here at Turn On. Nicole, by the way,
Yeah.
I'm 3 hours behind you, and I've got this energy.
I mean,
on the Pacific Coast.
Well, and I'm just realizing I put my watch on upside down, so it's a totally different time here too. But good for you. Look at you, got tons of energy. You slept well.
I'm in Portland at the Turn On event.
Are you turned on?
I am a little turned on
by
the whole 1,000-watt vibe. You know, Mark Davison, he really does get me going. I don't know if I'd use this phrase that you just used for the event.
Get me going is
no,
pretty intense too.
Listen, 1,000-watt, they're the premier agency for a lot of real estate brands that we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a unique event. It's in a theater.
It actually looks like you're more in a dungeon.
Listen,
so we're
actually,
totally
Bobby,
taking your word on that.
Go grab
you're
some of the
shackled. You're shackled, and they're like pushing your food under the
some of the
gifts.
gifts. You know which gifts I'm talking about. The unique,
door.
the most unique gifts. Just grab me a handful of them, and then we'll put them back. Grab a handful.
Are you? Because everyone can see that on a podcast. The beautiful gifts.
If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see. So they're handing Nicole. Look at what they're handing out at this conference. Can you see what that is?
No, it's blurry. Move it back a little. Are they? Is it gum?
It's
matches.
Not gum. I know you would like gum. It's not matches, but you're getting close.
I do like gum. What is it? It's a black. I see a black line.
This is Turn On rolling papers.
Oh my God.
Here, so you walk in, you check in.
Are the rolling papers black? Is that what I was seeing? That was black?
No. The case is black.
Okay.
Because it's branded to the Turn On event.
I'd rather gum.
I know you'd like gum, but they've got a journal, they've got pens, and they've got rolling papers. So
I like it.
And look at this, Nicole.
Yeah.
This is the first time I ever had this. This says press on it.
You're wearing a badge. You never wear a badge. Your name's not even on it.
It just says press.
Perfect.
Okay, so
if going forward, if we're ever at an event, instead of getting a sticker that says Byron Lazine, we'll have to have it say press, and you'll wear it.
And I'll wear it. I was like, Mark, this is really pushing it here. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to be going live a bunch today. Obviously, if you're listening to this pod, always premieres at 2 East Coast time. I'll probably have already gone live, but the following day I'll be going live again on Wednesday. Anyways, let's jump into what we've got.
No one wants to hear about your live events.
No, they don't. We've got 3 rackets. Racket number 1, $1 million listing star warns California mansion tax will deliver hardest hit to the market since 2007. Okay, so Josh Altman.
Yep.
He went on to Fox Business. This is a Fox Business article. We'll link it down below. California law called United to House LA establishes a 4% tax on home sales 5 million and up, 5.5% on sales that are 10 million and up. Your quick math, Nicole, on the $5 million home was what?
Yeah, well, I did add 5%, but it was supposed to be a
250,000.
Yeah, well, that was at 5%. So the 4 would be 200 grand.
Oh, it's 5. It's 4%. What did I say? 5%?
No. That's the math I did. I did incorrect math, which is not surprising. But so 4% on 5 million would be 200. Yeah.
So $200,000 on a $5 million sale. So to your point, you wouldn't get this extra. You said it before the show. What did you say about? I said drop down to 4.9.
You don't want to sell over 4.9 because even if you got 5.2, you're out. You're back at 5 million. So I feel like your break off point there. You're just maybe hanging out at 4.9.
Okay, so that works at a $5.1 million house or a $5.2 million house because the $200,000 in taxes, gets washed away. But if you're talking about 7 million. Then that's a different story, right? Because I'm going to pay the 4%,
right,
which is 280 grand, but I'm not going to leave 1.7 million on the table, obviously.
So
that goes without saying. You weren't saying that. And then at 10 million, you have this 5.5% tax, which is $550,000. Obviously, that's a lot of money, man.
So much money. That's more than some agents are able to negotiate for themselves.
Well, these sellers, you know what these sellers are going to say to their agent?
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
I got to give California 5.5%. You're asking me for 5. You
Yeah.
think I'm giving 10.5% of
Never.
this sale away before, and we're not even getting
Do
into
you think that these
capital
California
gains and all
agents,
this
though,
kind
are
of
getting
stuff?
5%? I feel like at that price point, I
They're
don't know,
getting at that price point, they're getting 4.
yeah, I was gonna
I know
say,
that they're getting 4. It's 2 and 2. I've talked to enough of these people who have done deal. I haven't talked to
yeah,
Josh personally about
yeah,
his
because 'cause you're
splits.
amazing, yep,
But I've talked to people that do deals with Josh,
right,
and people that do deals in that ecosystem. And we're talking about, 4% a lot of times. And
yeah,
then there's deals that are 3, there's deals that are 5.
of
I'm not
course,
saying that there's, a locked in
yeah, there's
commission
always,
rate, but
yeah,
I'm saying that there are a lot of deals that are 4%. Okay. So, uh, listen, we're going to give our thoughts on property taxes overall right after we finish up this $1 million tax. Okay. So
okay,
let us know in the comments, by the way, if you're in one of these luxury markets and if they're considering it. If you're in California specifically, what are you hearing about this particular tax? Okay. So
okay,
though it's home to some of the most luxurious and expensive real estate listings in America, California is getting ready to pass this tax that will create the hardest hit to the market since 2007, 2008, according to Josh Altman. About 10 days or so, in about 10 days or so, there's a measure called the ULA measure that's going into effect. It's probably going to be the hardest hit to the market we've seen. Okay, since 2007. So it's good. It sounds like it's happening.
it's happening.
Okay, property sold above the 5 million, and then above the 10 million have this 4% and 5.5% tax, respectively. At least 92% of taxpayers' money would fund affordable housing under the Affordable Housing Program and tenant assistance programs under homeless prevention program. So they're going to take this money, and 92% of the funds are going to go into affordable housing initiatives. The way that this ULA measure was passed is just mind-boggling, according to Altman. He thinks it's one of the most ridiculous bills that he's ever seen in his 20-year career. The Los Angeles City Administrative Officer estimated the proposed tax could generate 600 million to 1.1 billion in revenue each year, or it could actually
Backfire.
backfire and get people to just sit on inventory. And listen, we're not worried about inventory in this price range, right? When
Right.
we talk about the inventory issues across the country, we're not like worried about, oh my gosh, there's people sitting on $5 million homes. There's a very small percentage of people that can afford $5 and $10 million homes. So if people do decide to sit on these homes in California and not sell them, maybe they start doing luxury short-term rentals or something with these properties. I'm not worried about it. It's not going to be an inventory hit. But the city administrative said that it would fluctuate based on how many property transactions with values within the scope actually occur, right? And to the point, if people don't want to sell those properties, you're not going to get any of that tax. Obviously, some of these transactions are going to happen. Nicole, we're going to start with this mansion tax, and we're going to break it
Okay.
down to property taxes overall. Your thoughts on the mansion tax going into effect in California?
So obviously the California market is very different from the Connecticut market because selling something over 5 million, I think maybe we're doing that this year, my first time, which is
Nicole has a property, a listing
yes,
under contract right now over
yes,
5 million. So don't
yes.
let her try to act like she's,
No,
not playing in
I'm
this
saying
league here.
it's the first time ever in my career. Um, I just it's mind blowing. I can't even. I mean, 5.5%. I mean, I get what you're saying that there's probably not a ton, but in California, I think there's enough. There's enough if they're able to generate $1 billion. There's clearly enough people selling for them to generate that. I am kind of curious. I mean, not that it's going to affect us tremendously, but I'm curious what exactly their initiatives are. Like what, obviously it's the affordable housing, but exactly what are they building? Are they
Right.
giving people more money? Like
Yeah.
I
What are
know,
they actually going to do?
right?
You
Because I
can say
know, yeah,
affordable housing. That's a very it's a buzzword. I believe we
It's
need more
super
affordable housing, but
buzzword. Yeah,
what,
but there's a lot of homeless in LA. Like, are
yeah.
you providing homes for them or are they staying on your streets?
Well,
What is affordable in California? Is that still truly affordable to those that can't afford? I
to,
don't know.
to your point, it's one of the most high, it's already got one of the highest taxes in the country when you look at California, when
Yeah,
you look at the overall tax, and they have those issues that you just pointed out, like the homeless issue. So it's like you've already been gifted by your residents a whole lot of money, right? Governments don't make money. They're gifted money by their residents. Governments don't earn anything. They take people's money, and then what do they do with it? And
right.
and so they're going to take more money here in California, and it remains to be seen, what will they do with that money? What are these programs going to look like? Will they actually work?
Right.
Okay, so Altman says that it's a race to the bottom over the next 10 days as buyers are trying to close deals before this mansion
My
tax is
God.
enacted. So they're going into escrow, and they're like just trying to close these deals up quickly, which is, imagine that
People
10
are
day.
giving bonuses. We have offered $1 million bonus for anybody who buys and closes before April 1.
Yeah. And so imagine that right now you get a deal on a $5 million, $6 million house, and it's like, we got a 10-day close. Okay. We're just going to come in here and do the deal right now. Okay. So,
Man,
um,
he had an early spring market, huh? Holy shit.
so the people who voted for this said, I don't have a $5 million house. And so a lot of people that are for this obviously aren't playing in this league. Okay. This 5 million and up house, but, there you go. That's what's going on in California. Now,
Now,
let's get into our property taxes overall.
okay.
Okay. Um, and we're staying here in bracket one, but it's based off of this segment. I
Okay.
believe that we will see in 2023, we're going to see inventory loosen up in some parts of the country because of property taxes. I think about places like the Northeast, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. I think about places like Texas, where property taxes are extremely high. When these new assessments from the last 2 or 3 years, where property values went up 40+%
Mhm.
in almost every area of the country,
Right.
when these new assessments come out, and a lot of them are coming out in
Ours came out. We
2023.
already got ours.
So the new assessment in Connecticut already came out, Nicole
Well,
saying.
in my town.
Now,
Each town is different. I mean,
and
I got my new assessment. Oh, and they're now voting on the new mill. They have to now
the,
adapt. They have to
the
change the mill. Yeah.
exactly. So people don't know what a mill rate is because that's not how everybody, does their
Talks.
property
Yeah.
taxes in the country. But what Connecticut does is they got the assessed value on these homes. Okay. So a new assessment, they all went up.
All went up.
Okay. Now they vote on what's the mill rate, how they're going to calculate against the assessment for the property taxes. Now,
Right.
what I know is going to happen, because it's happened historically over the years, these mill rates are not going to come down.
Well, ours is
Okay.
going down. They go
Okay,
down.
well,
I
they
could
could go down. You're right. All right,
They
but
go
but
down. They usually
but
go down.
but do they go? Here's the point: do they go down enough, Nicole,
Oh,
to bring
no.
your property taxes down? Your taxes
No.
aren't going down on your
No, the
property,
taxes are your taxes are never going down. No.
right?
But I
So
mean, the mill is certainly coming down enough that you're not multiplying your assessment times your current mill. That's where people start freaking out, is they think that, holy shit, I just doubled in taxes.
okay,
But
so
yeah.
they're gonna fall somewhere in the middle where the taxes are gonna jump up. And listen, there are gonna be some people. Your personal house is one of them, where we're
Yeah.
talking about a 20+% increase in taxes,
More than that.
10% plus. Yeah, your
Yeah.
home might be more than that because it,
Yeah.
it was under assessed anyways. But hopefully nobody's listening. But 10% increase in taxes. Listen, there are some. I just had a normal. I sold a place last year because the taxes were out of control. A normal 2 bedroom, not, I guess not normal,
Condo.
but 2 bedroom condo. Taxes were $13,000. Okay, so
13,000.
you increase that by 10%. That's another $1,300. You increase it by 20%. We're talking over $2,500 on top of the 13,000. We're talking $15,000. So as these assessments come out in different parts of the country, and we know that, we're just using Connecticut as an example, we know that that's happening this year. as these increased property taxes come out, you're going to see some more inventory come onto the market because people are going to raise their hand. People are going to raise their hand in Texas and say, enough. I'm done with this. I'm going to go and buy a property somewhere else, or I'm going to move to a different part of the state
Right.
where my taxes are a little bit less. That's what
Right.
I did in Connecticut, getting
Yeah.
ahead of this issue.
Yeah, I mean, but you found it and you were able to find a house just a few towns over that saved you
It,
$10,000 a year.
it has the lowest mill rate in the state of Connecticut,
Right.
right? And so that was the decision I made because I knew that I could see this coming this
Of
year,
course, yeah,
and it's going to be one thing that we're not talking about at all that will help inventory. Now, I don't think it helps prices. It won't help people's equity that get hit the hardest on these property
right,
taxes, but it will help get some people to say, I'm going to make a move here
yeah.
because the taxes have gotten so far out of control.
Well, yeah, and I think where we'll see it the most is probably with the boomers. It's time to get out of the family home now officially, or it's time to get rid of that home that is we've been hanging on to that is, maybe now just our second home in those specific towns for sure.
That and first time home buyers that are just like, oh man, because prices lag. Okay,
Yeah,
these issues. So this comes out, the price drops in the hardest hit property taxes are going to lag, and so anybody looking in that time frame
for
are going
sure,
to be
and
like, it's become unaffordable again.
yeah, well, it's certainly gonna change what it's gonna affect their purchasing power for sure. I mean, I think for some, new homeowners, first time home buyers, I think they are still very town driven, school driven. So, I don't know that that'll change maybe their direction, but it'll certainly change their price point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what they can afford. You mentioned
yeah.
boomers, Nicole, which was a great segue
I was
into.
trying. I was
I know
trying.
you were lobbing it up for me. The tug of war between millennials and boomers heats up this spring, according to Inman.com. 5 real estate experts explain how rising mortgage rates, inflation, and economic uncertainty could impact baby boomers and millennials this spring, and how both groups can succeed. Those two groups we've talked about this over the years on the real world. Those two groups have competed a lot against each other in the last few years. You see, millennials want to be in a walkable downtown, environment, but
Yep.
boomers want that as well as they
Yep.
downsize and get their retirement home. Okay, the spring market's barely begun, um, but we're already seeing the ultimate game of catch 22. Home prices are beginning to loosen some, despite fluctuating mortgage rates primed to offset the savings. We've got the robust job market. Okay, all this stuff we know. Okay, so how are mortgage rates going to impact millennials and boomers specifically? Uh, we've got senior economist from realtor.com. I think current demographics in the U.S. are tremendous tailwind to housing, but at the same time, they are inherently creating a problem in essence because of this tailwind. Given the shortage of inventory, we're obviously running into a problem with affordability. So the 44 million Americans who have hit their prime home buying age, okay, that's the millennial group, between 26 and 35, despite common stereotypes about millennial and Gen Zers valuing avocado toast and lattes over home ownership. He said that multiple surveys show these generations want to purchase homes. Okay, we both believe that they want to purchase homes.
Of course.
Um, and so, listen, when it comes to the mortgage rate, Nicole, I think the millennials are going to be harder hit because they are buying those $5 lattes and, avocado toast. In like that town that I just sold in Connecticut, there's a place that does avocado toast. It's like $15 for avocado toast.
It's
This stuff's
it's
not cheap.
not cheap
No,
at
it's
all.
just bread
No.
and avocado. But
No.
um, so because they're spending money, and we've covered this in the past where
Right.
they're spending a lot of money on dating, they're racking up credit card bills, they've got less money to spend on their houses. Millennials don't have that problem. I mean, boomers rather don't have that problem.
Right.
They control 1/7 of the world's wealth. Okay,
Well,
70
right, they're
plus.
not they're not doing 3.5% down FHA,
No,
No.
70 plus million. The boomers control 1/7 of the world's wealth. They're the ones that can come in and buy properties cash.
Right.
So I don't think these interest rates impact boomers the same way they do millennials.
For sure.
Okay. Um, A lot of households have locked into mortgage rates over the last couple of years around 3%. It's going to hurt inventory. The boomers that are locked in under 3% that don't have to move, right? They don't have to. They're not in those prime buying years that are dictated by schools and all this kind of stuff. So they don't have to buy.
Right.
All right, let's go to their second thing here. New home market. The new home market won't save home buyers. Okay, so what does that mean? New home market. Despite the challenges of fluctuating mortgage rates, worsening affordability, and low inventory, TKI co-founder and CEO Thomas Gamble told Inman this company's latest quarterly analytics report shows a silver lining. We really just had a completely out of this world experience over the last couple of years. Where if it has a driveway and a door, it's going to sell over ass with multiple buyers. Okay, we got that. Obviously, we're not in that market anymore, and that's maybe knocking out some of the opportunistic sellers. Okay, so this. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I skipped over that one. The new home market. This is the silver lining. I'm sorry, silver lining and generational buying and selling trends. We'll go back to the other one. Okay, so just because the opportunities have dropped down or changed a little bit, it's not really the dominant reason people move. They move or list their home because of things that are happening, like being close to a family or school, like we just talked about. What's immediately happening in their life. So with that in mind, Gamble predicts empty nesters, homeowners between 45 and 64 with no children at home, are expected to make up 10.2% of all listings that come to the market by February 2024. Retirees 65 and older, 7.5%. Okay, so that's not a tsunami of inventory from that demographic. He's basically saying a lot of those folks are going to stay put, Nicole. Do you think a lot of the that boomer and retired generation has already made their moves and they're staying put moving forward?
I think a lot of them have. I think a lot of I mean, we talked about this, I feel like, maybe in 2021, about 2020, we saw a lot of shifts in 2020, with the boomers moving or downsizing or trying to get closer to family. Or I think that they've already made the shift. I know for like my boomer family, like they've already made the shift. I moved my mom maybe 6 years ago. My father just sold his last year and now was settled into like where he'll be. So I do. I think that the shift is probably already, for a majority of them, has already taken place.
School age families with children between the ages of 7 and 17 will comprise 23.5% of listings within the next 12 months. Families with children 18 to 24 are expected to come in second place at 15.8% of listings. So there you go. If you're looking for listings, look for people with children 7 to 24. That's going to be basically 40% of all listings. Singles and couples under 35 with no children will have a harder time breaking through. They're only going to make up 8.7% and 5.4% of listings, respectively. So singles and couples with no children are going to make up 13%. But basically, if you just say, okay, people that have children 24 and under, that's 50% more plus of all listing. Young families with children under the age of 6.4. So you get take 6.4, 5, 8, what's that, 13, 20 plus the 40, 60%. If you take people with children or 24 years or under or no
Mhm.
children, that's going to be 6 out of 10 listings, basically, to break that down. Okay. That's who you want to target when you're looking at listings. Then let's go back to this new home market won't save home buyers. Zillow senior economist believes that homeowners are going to continue to sit on this inventory. So this is a theme here on this struggle between millennial buyers and boomer buyers. Although buyers will benefit from rebates and other deals, Gardner said the new home market is still chronically undersupplied, and the impact of increased construction, long zoning and permitting timelines, and the lack of available land in denser coastal markets will hit buyers in their pockets, with the median sale price for new homes reaching $427,500 in February, 19% higher than the median cost for existing homes, which is $359,000. Okay, so new homes aren't going to help. You agree there, Nicole? We certainly agree in the Northeast.
In the Northeast, I was going to say, I mean, what's happening in your backyard down in Florida? I mean, were they only building for boomers? I feel like
I
at this
know, but
point,
they're all so high price. You can't go down to not South Florida and get something you can't get. I've never ever seen in South Florida a single family home at $360,000. Okay, if
no.
I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I've never seen a single family new construction. I'm talking in in the last 5 years here.
Okay.
Um, for $360,000, they don't exist. They're all $500,000 and
Well,
up.
but I mean, we're not I mean, we're not building up in the Northeast for under that though either.
No,
So,
I get it. But that's the
yeah.
problem with
Yeah.
all of these new builds. Even the ones that do come out don't meet the market.
No, I hear you, but I guess my only point is that I do feel as though a boomer, if they're moving from the Northeast and wanna head south, can probably afford a new construction at 500,000. So that may be relinquishing a home for, an entry-level buyer to then buy that house, if the boomer is actually, relocating and moving and they can afford the new construction, where the entry level is gonna be gobbling up the boomer's house they just sold. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't know if there's like I love this tug of war idea, but I feel like one sort of feeds the other for sure.
The biggest issue between millennials that don't have kids yet and boomers specifically is they typically want the same thing. Okay, and so that's where you see
Yeah.
competition,
Right. Yep. I'm hearing you.
in a lot of these towns where they want
Yeah.
that location.
Of course.
Zillow CEO Rich Barton this week, Nicole, said the real pain is probably coming. So our third and final racket here on today's show, Zillow, which held $3.4 billion in cash and investments at the end of 2022, is well prepared to weather any storm, including the banking fallout. Barton said in an interview just last Thursday, the writing on the wall is clear. We're in for some rocky economic times. Okay, so we're going to find out tomorrow, Nicole, what the Fed thinks about these rocky times. They're going to FOMC meeting is going to release their latest thoughts on, or their latest rather, interest rate hike. Maybe they're going to pause. I don't think they're going to cut. The market's pricing in a 25 basis point hike. And Rich Barton believes that we have a storm coming. We haven't seen the worst of it yet. He actually loves a storm, he said in a wine raging interview that touched the health of Zillow as a company, the decision to shutter the iBuying platform, as well as his own early career. Warren Buffett likes to say, Nicole, are you ready? You don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. I've actually quoted that here on The Real Word.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
I've
Or I've quoted
never
it
heard you
somewhere.
say it ever. Not
All right.
here.
Maybe I've quoted it
Wrong show, wrong
on
girl,
another show.
different girl,
a lot
different
of
girl.
people are swimming naked right now, Rich Barton says, and they're going to get exposed. A loft of cruft is getting washed out to sea, he told Geek Wire, referring not only to the banking whiplash, but also interest rates reaching 20-year highs and layoffs across all sectors of the economy. So, Nicole, do you think the worst is yet to come in 2023?
I think that the worst in 2023 compared to like these last 3 months. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that
Compared to 2022, do you think, yeah, in the last 3 months, do you think we're in for more pain?
I do think we're in for more pain. I hate I'm not a huge fan, like the worst is yet to come because it makes it sound like it's going to be awful. Again, I just think it's going to be certainly shaky and unsteady and will cause a lot of people probably to hesitate. Again, especially if they're uncertain about their money or their jobs or what have you. So yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think that the future is going to be a little shaky.
The real pain is probably coming, Rich Barton said. All organizations should be prepared for that. So even in your real estate business, we started talking about this last year in quarter 3, quarter 4.
Yep.
Being prepared for what is ahead
Right.
is still a good idea as we sit here at the end of quarter 1 of 2023. It's not just back to business as usual. You should still be preparing for more pain. Rich Barton is doubling down on that. He says that Zillow is luckily ahead of what's happening in the housing market this year, probably because they got rid of all that inventory
Right.
that they were sitting on. He feels pretty good about that decision to shutter the Zillow iBuying. It just feels like magic and it feels effortless, he told GeekWire, when he's talking about leading a business through choppy waters. He is the magic man, apparently, to be able to lead Zillow through these times. Thinks
The
Zillow's
magic man. Maybe he'll be turned up with you over there.
be able to turn on here
Turn on.
in Portland. So yeah, overall, I agree with Rich. I think these are pretty obvious statements. We've been talking about a recession for a year and
Right.
a half, and we probably we'll see what the Fed does tomorrow. We probably could go into one. It's going to be the most anticipated recession of all time. We have our first real banking crisis since 2008. So it seems like a pretty obvious statement. It's also obvious to say that agents right now shouldn't just be saying typical agent things. Okay, so I think there's two sides to this. It's like, one, your messaging to the market needs to change, where it's always a good time to buy. These types of things aren't relevant in
Right.
one-on-one conversations anymore. And then also you personally and how you're going to operate your business and the way you're going to make moves in 2023 can't be. Jimmy Mackin, CEO of Curator, says this all the time, who I think I'll be lucky enough to see here later today. Your playbook for 2022 is not going to work in 2023.
Right.
That is clear. And that's where I think people are getting confused with this back to the basic stuff. They think it's just like, let me go back to my old playbook. It's back to the basics on work ethic because it was easy the last 2 years.
Right.
But your playbook on the work ethic that you're applying to the playbook has to be different.
Right.
The
Yeah. I mean,
playbook has to be different.
well, that's just it. I mean, and when you say back to the basics, a lot of the agents, these were the basics, 20, 21, 22 were their basics.
No.
So again, like, it's just, I think like you're saying, the verbiage needs to change a little bit in terms of, back to the basics of working for sure.
Yeah, back to the basics of like a 4-hour workday doesn't cut it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
You know,
waiting for your phone to call and like you're just going to
yeah.
run out and, draft an offer. No, you need to actually like educate. You need to help them. You need to reassure them. Yeah, again, you definitely need to be educated with what's happening.
8 to noon every single day,
Yeah.
like making calls is a
Oh, yeah.
really good idea. And then going in the afternoon and getting, whether you have appointments or not, getting face to face with people. What do I mean by if you have appointments or not? If you don't have listing appointments and buyer appointments, how do you get face to face with people? You go and meet with the financial investors and institutions in your market. Why wouldn't you right now be going and creating relationships with all the regional
Right.
bankers and lenders and seeing what they're seeing in the market, insurance agents, going and just getting in front of people, going to the local coffee shop where all the attorneys in your
I was
market
going to say
hang
attorneys
out.
for sure. Yeah.
They love doing coffee and doing nothing all day. So go hang out where the attorneys
Right.
hang out. These are the things that you should be doing in the afternoon after making 3-4 hours of call. That's what back to the basics means. But then how you're actually going to go out there and the conversations you're going to have with people, the information that you're going to deliver, that's not going to be basic because it's changing every single day. And the storm continues to brew and create different forecasts. And that's what Rich Barton's talking about, is that it could get worse and you've got to be up to the minute on that kind of information.
For sure.
All right, Nicole, I'm going to go
Good.
get turned on.
Please
here.
go get turned on.
Can't
wait to hear all about it.
Got the event.
Enjoy yourself.
If you're catching this on day of release, this pod, then that means tomorrow I'm still going to be going live here from 1000 Watt Turn On. So you'll be able to catch that. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss anything, so you don't miss a real word. And Nicole, next week, we won't be in person, but in a couple weeks, we're going to be in person.
Yeah.
And that studio that you're sitting in, people might, if you're watching on YouTube, you might see some new things happening there.
We're trying. We're getting there.
I'm hearing
it's a heck of a time getting a contractor here.
But Cooper's out here in Portland with me and Bobby. And
Cooper loves it.
He's saying, I hope they fix that wall before you get there because you're not going to love it right now. That's what Cooper said. I'm just saying.
Jesus, Cooper. Every time he was here, he's like, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, he's eating a big scone. He's having a big scone right now. I'm going to go see.
Cooper's a traitor.
Well, I'll tell him you said that.
Please do.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Keep it real.
See you guys.